Good to be with you. I'm Tony DeCopel. The breaking news right now. Fiery crash. A seaplane goes down off the coast of Washington. What happened and what it took to pull all 11 people on board out alive.
Thank God you guys are okay.
Also tonight, a teenage school shooter pleads guilty to killing 4 people at a Georgia high school, coming face to face with their family members and survivors in a courtroom today.
I hate you and I'm mad at you. You had other options besides going in and killing a bunch of innocent people.
The White House Correspondents' Dinner do-over after a gunman stormed the event in April. What's changed tonight? And the breaking news, former NFL quarterback and CBS Sports analyst Tony Romo arrested on suspicion of driving while intoxicated. The NBA blockbuster LeBron James bound for the city of brotherly love. What he says about his move to the Philadelphia 76ers. And Steve Hartman on the road tonight with the healing powers of Charlie's Gumbo.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News with Tony DeCopel.
Good evening. We begin with that near tragedy in the Pacific Northwest. A plane with 11 people on board skimming the water before slamming into a rocky island off the coast of Washington state. And that's when the rescue began, with smoke rising from the wreckage and people desperate to get out. Bystanders rushed in to help last night, some on fishing boats, and all just moments before the plane burst into flames. Everyone on board survived, and Carter Evans has the video, also what witnesses saw just before the crash. Carter, good evening. What can you tell us?
Well, good evening, Tony. According to the airline, the single-engine seaplane left Lake Union, Seattle on a scenic flight tour bound for San Juan Island. It crashed 45 minutes later.
I can't believe he's doing this.
Witnesses watched as a seaplane skimmed the water in Washington's Puget Sound before hearing this.
Oh, God, I hope he's okay.
Cell phone video shows the Kenmore Air float plane in flames after it crashed on Thursday near Susha Island.
Oh, thank God you guys are okay.
11 people were aboard. Good Samaritans and the Coast Guard rushed to help.
When we arrived, the seaplane had already mostly sunk.
The Coast Guard helicopter crew told us they knew they had to act fast with survivors in chilly water.
It's cold, somewhere in the 50s.
And how quickly can you go into hypothermia in that temperature water?
Within 30 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
All passengers and the pilot survived. 10 were taken to area hospitals.
What were the injuries like when you started bringing people up?
A lot of broken bones and lacerations. The patient that we ended up taking had a pretty bad broken leg.
After seeing video of the crash, Lieutenant Commander Marshall Birch says the seaplane's pilot deserves a lot of credit.
The pilot probably did a really good job to set it down gently enough to give everybody a chance. A lot of things went right to get everybody out of the plane.
The NTSB is now investigating the cause of the crash, and recovery operations are underway right now to get this plane out of the water. It's expected to be brought to a secure location for further examination. Tony?
Carter, thank you. The man accused of stabbing 2 men in separate daylight attacks yesterday here in New York City is now charged with hate crimes. Investigators searched the suspect's apartment and belongings and determined the stabbing of a Jewish man outside a synagogue did indeed fit the category. That victim has been released from the hospital. The other victim, an Asian man, is still being treated. Now to a day of anger and anguish in a Georgia courtroom. A 16-year-old school shooter admitting to killing 2 fellow students and 2 teachers and then wounding 9 other people. Family members and survivors then telling him how their lives have been changed. Here's CBS News national correspondent Jerika Duncan.
Nearly 2 years after a murderous rampage at Georgia's Appalachia High School.
I want you to understand something. You didn't just take my little brother from me.
Victims' families spoke directly to Colt Gray, who admitted to shooting and killing 2 students, 2 teachers, and wounding several others. Surveillance video shows Gray leaving a bathroom and then opening fire in a classroom and in the hallway. Brianna Skirmahorn, whose 14-year-old son Mason was killed, relives the terrifying ordeal every day.
No parent expects to send their child to school and not get them back.
Inside the packed courtroom, prosecutors showed a handcuffed Gray being questioned by police hours after the shooting. You can hear Gray as he sobs and rambles for over an hour describing what happened.
I'm just contemplating on if it really shouldn't do this. But my life is already over.
The assault-style rifle Gray used in the killings was a gift from his father, Colin Gray.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
Earlier this year, he was convicted of second-degree murder for supplying the weapon his son used. For the families of the 4 people who were killed, today was about remembering that they deserve justice.
Honestly, I don't think I'll ever be satisfied by anything because none of it's going to bring our loved ones back. It doesn't erase what he did. It doesn't erase the trauma that was caused.
And this hearing is expected to last well into next week, Tony. It is unclear exactly when the judge will make his final decision about sentencing. Tony?
Jerika, thank you. To Washington, D.C. now on a redo of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which was interrupted back in April when a gunman stormed in. It's a scaled-down event tonight with scaled-up security and at a different hotel this time, the Waldorf Astoria. Homeland Security and Justice correspondent Nicole Skanga is there.
Tonight, the Waldorf Astoria is under heightened security as President Trump and nearly 700 guests gather for the high-profile dinner.
We do expect bad people to show up. It's just a reality of where we are.
Secret Service Director Sean Kern issued a stark warning this week.
The numbers are numbers at this agency, and certainly I have never seen in my 24-year career.
New figures show threats made against Secret Service protectees are up more than 40% nationwide compared to the same time last year. 10,000 cases opened just since January. The first dinner in April was cut short after an armed man opened fire at a security checkpoint, injuring a Secret Service officer.
We do expect things to happen at the Magna Timers, unfortunately, but that's why they are there. And that's where it happened, and that's where it ended. So it did work. The system worked.
The Deputy Director of the Secret Service, Matt Quinn, says they aren't approaching this dinner like the last one.
So we examine every single site, and we change things and get better every single time.
The agency has carried out nearly 3,000 of these kinds of site visits this year alone. Former Secret Service Special Agent Keith Wojciech says the agency is breaking its silence for a reason.
I mean, when you're talking 10,000 threats, 3,000 visits, all these different mental health cases, there's only 2,000 individuals in the Secret Service. They need help.
And tonight, the White House Correspondents Association will present an award to Victor Gonzalez, the Secret Service police officer who first confronted the gunman back in April, and the employees of the Washington Hilton, where the previous dinner was held, Tony.
Well deserved. You know, Nicole, there's new reporting tonight about threats to the president while he was in Turkey at the NATO summit just a few weeks ago. What do you know on that?
Yeah, Tony, that's right. U.S. officials telling CBS News that the president was urged by the Secret Service to fly out of Ankara on the new Air Force One plane gifted to him by the Qatari government, or rather not to use that plane, Tony, because of a credible threat that Iranian proxy forces were targeting him and the plane. The president instead left the summit on the old Air Force One because that one has advanced defensive capabilities that the new one doesn't. Tony?
Nicole, thank you. Tony Romo, the former Dallas Cowboys quarterback, now the lead game analyst for the NFL on CBS, was arrested in Milwaukee last night on suspicion of operating a vehicle while intoxicated. That, according to the county sheriff's office, which also released this booking photo. The arrest report says Romo was pulled over on an interstate around 6 p.m. and failed a field sobriety test. He's due in court in September. CBS Sports has declined to comment. To the war with Iran now, and an important discrepancy on a part of the Pentagon's website that lists the number of American service members killed in that conflict. Here to explain what happened and why is senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata.
Good evening, Tony. The Pentagon came under fire after their tally of the number of troops killed in the Iran war suddenly dropped from 18 to 14. There's a Pentagon website, it's open to the public, that shows the casualty count for conflicts. The Department of Defense is obligated by law to report war dead. So the discrepancy came up after the recent deaths of 4 U.S. soldiers, 3 in a missile strike last week here in Jordan, another this week in northern Iraq, in the detonation of an Iranian drone. So the website showed the accurate war dead at 18 in Operation Epic Fury. That's the war against Iran. But then it was reduced back to 14. Military sources told the New York Times, who pointed this out first, they were taken off because their deaths occurred after President Trump declared a ceasefire in the war in April. But Pentagon officials say the change was instead due to a temporary data disruption. We checked again earlier today, and that number was back to 14, not 18. That's drawn criticism that the Trump administration is trying to hide the true costs of the war for those who lost their lives in this conflict. Tony?
Charlie, thank you very much. The CDC made it official today. There have now been more measles cases this year than in all of last year, which was the most we'd seen in about 35 years. Health officials confirming more than 2,300 cases in 45 states so far in 2026. They say the highly contagious virus is back on the rise, largely because fewer children are getting vaccinated. And the big question tonight, in an election year where Americans are mostly divided on the issues, why are so many united around opposition to new data centers? The public anger ranges from peaceful demonstrations to 13 shots fired at the home of an Indianapolis City Council member, that accompanied by a note that said no data centers. But all the major tech companies need them. They need them to power the AI models now used by millions of us, which is why the industry has already built thousands and plans to build at least another 1,500. But they may not be allowed to. Pauses or bans on construction have popped up in New Orleans, Louisiana, Tacoma, Washington, Tulsa, Oklahoma, elsewhere as well. And while some of the loudest opposition comes from the political left, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has also called for a stop in some rural areas, while New York's Kathy Hochul has paused new large-scale data centers statewide, the first to do so. And a majority of Americans overall oppose new data centers where they live. They oppose them because many are as big as airports, draw more power than a small city, use as much water as the same, and support a technology, AI, whose own founders say could be an existential risk to life here on Earth, or at the very least, your job. President Trump is now trying to get the nation on board, promising to protect voters from higher electricity bills and warning that if we don't build these data centers, America will be left out of the future. Well, if that's true, the politicians who believe it and the companies that develop it better start making the case, because the answer from the American people right now seems to be no. Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, a big announcement in the world of basketball. LeBron James says this is his last decision as an NBA player. We'll tell you where he's headed next. We're back with what LeBron James calls his last decision. One of the greatest players in NBA history is leaving the LA Lakers for a team that hasn't won a championship since 1983. Here's CBS News senior national correspondent Mark Strassman.
I just got an alert. LeBron James signing with the Sixers?
Philadelphia flipped today. The same city where colonists rejected King George rejoiced over King James.
We got Bron! He joined the team. We winning. We winning the chip. Philly!
James, now 41, posted he's a Sixer on social media. I still truly love this game, and I have more to give. In this demanding sports city, LeBron instantly becomes Le Savior. The Sixers last became NBA champions 43 years ago. Don Bell is sports director for CBS Philadelphia.
You have people who are Sports Illustrated famous. And then occasionally, every now and then, you get somebody who is People magazine famous. And that's what he is, right?
James defines the global sports icon. With more than 2 decades of highlight reel exceptionalism. But this athlete transcends sports.
Welcome, King James.
In movies, as a tycoon worth north of $1 billion, as a voice for social activism.
I continue to keep my foot on the gas on creating real change for us as people of color in America.
No wonder Pennsylvania's governor declared today LeBron James Day.
He is a transcendent figure, and it is incomprehensible what he is going to mean and what he's going to bring to this city.
So Philadelphia is giddy today, but James knows that city's sports fans are complicated, passionate, gritty, hardcore, and often described as the meanest sports fans in America. If Le Savior turns into Le Flop, They will let him know it.
They sure
Tony?
will. Thank you, Mark. Dozens of firefighters are hurt and entire towns evacuated as wildfires roar through parts of Europe. Strong winds blowing smoke to the shore in southwest France, with more than 100,000 people fleeing along the way. In Spain, the government declaring a national emergency. Among the areas threatened there, a NASA facility that communicates with deep space equipment like the Webb telescope. And here's something you just don't think of. A truck driver in Georgia, avoiding one danger by slamming on his brakes, creates another one as his load of 2x4s slides straight through the back of the cab and out the front window. Apparently just missing him, he walked away with only minor injuries. Still ahead on the road, Steve Hartman meets a man who didn't know how much he'd be missed until the day he didn't show up.
Bang going. It's been 7 months since we first told this story. Charlie is doing well and getting famous. Hundreds of people from all over the country have stopped by to see him.
People were coming in, they wouldn't even ask about other things on the menu. They wanted Charlie Gumbo. So they renamed the gumbo to Charlie's Gumbo.
Another addition, a lighted walking path to make it even easier for Charlie.
Thank you, Steve. That's another day in America. I'm Tony DeCopel. For all of us here at CBS News, thank you for watching. Good night and have a great weekend.